Hi folks, Wes here. Today I'm going to be talking about how I craft dueling wands for Archmage Sorceress builds. Before we get into the craft, I need to call out this is not a very profitable craft. It is purely meant for self-craft if you just enjoy crafting your own items, or if you're in SSF, this will be good for you. But if you're looking to make money on this, probably don't try this out. The estimated cost for this craft is between 18 and 22 divine, and it can easily skyrocket if you get unlucky while searching for the last mod. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, step one of this craft is just buying the correct dueling wand base. For this craft, we need a level 81, very important, level 81 dueling wand with fractured tier 1 or tier 2 lightning percent. I say tier 1 or tier 2 lightning percent just because that's good damage. You don't need tier 1 or tier 2, but if you want to have a good wand, you obviously want higher tier lightning percent damage, so tier 1 or tier 2 is the best option. The reason we want this fractured is for step 2, which we'll get into shortly. These can be bought on trade for pretty expensive, or you can try to fracture them yourself. Either way, this is the wand that we're looking for, a fractured lightning percent damage dueling wand. So for step 1 of the video, you need to obtain a level 81 dueling wand with fractured lightning damage. You can buy these on trade for decently expensive, or you can just try to fracture one yourself if you happen to find tier 2 or tier 1 lightning damage out in the wild. If you find tier 3 lightning damage, I would not recommend going for the fracture on those. But tier 2 is pretty high, over 100%, feels pretty good. The way we go about fracturing is you add 3 modifiers and then add 1 desecrated modifier, and then this will allow you to fracture stuff. Usually when fracturing, you need at least 4 modifiers, but the desecration modifier here counts as 1. And so instead of having a 1 in 4 chance, we now have a 1 in 3 chance, and hopefully we hit at least 1 out of these 3, at least 1 out of these 3. So it looks like this. Whiff, whiff, whiff. Wow. All those are really bad. Anyway, we have our tier 2 lightning damage over here instead, which we will now work on. For step 2, we will be using Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation and Omen of Dextral Exaltation plus Greater Exalted Orbs to try to fish for +5 lightning. The reason we have the fracture is so that we can consistently suffix slam and annul spam until we hit +5 lightning. The +5 lightning is a 1 in 8.5 chance, so basically you just need to keep going as long as you're using Greater Exalted Orbs. If you use Perfect Exalted Orbs, it's a 1 in 3.5 chance, but Perfect Exalted Orbs are much more expensive than the Greater Exalted Orbs, so you're better off just using the Greater Exalted Orbs to search for the +5 lightning, and it'll look like this. All right, so for step 2, as previously mentioned, because we have lightning damage here, the only modifier in the suffix that we can hit while using a homogenizing is lightning spells. So we're going to force the suffix slam and the homogenizing slam, and with a Greater Exalted Orb, we can hit +3, +4, or +5. To hit +5 is a 1 in 8.5, so on average, in 9 tries, you should hit this, and we'll just see. Maybe I'll get lucky and hit it early. Maybe I'll get unlucky and it'll take more. But we'll just see together. So anyway, here's the first try. There's +4, and you just cycle with the annuls until you hit. You can also use Chaos Orbs in order to just like spam for Chaos Orbs, but this feels a little bit faster, a little bit better because you're guaranteed to hit the lightning spells instead of just like a random thing. And we're getting a little unlucky here, as you can see. This can take a few tries, and it does end up getting semi-expensive, so this is just like good show that it can take a little while. Now we could use perfects. If you use a perfect, then it is a 1 in 3.5, but perfects cost like 2 div each, so I recommend using graders and then just having better luck than me. It took 15 tries here, which is higher than the average chance to hit, and just a little unlucky, but a good showcase of This is what it looks like if you happen to get unlucky. So just be prepared to have some amount of annuls ready and some amount of greater orbs and homogenizing exaltations ready. But that's step 2. For step 3, we'll be adding 2 prefixes. We're going to activate an omen of homogenizing exaltation, an omen of greater exaltation, and an omen of sinestral exaltation, and we're going to use a perfect exalted orb. The reason we're using the homogenizing exaltation here still is because we want to try to hit gain lightning damage, hoping that it picks from our 2 lightning tags and not the elemental tags. If we don't hit gain lightning damage, that's still fine. We will end up with at least 2 high damaging modifiers here, and that's great. It's going to look like this. Okay, for step 3, we're now going to add 2 prefixes here. We're going to use the Sinestral Exaltation to make sure we add prefixes, the Greater Exaltation to make sure we add 2, and then the Homogenizing to make sure that we add either lightning or some elemental damage. We're hoping to hit tier 1 gain and tier 1 spell damage. Tier 1 spell damage is unlikely, so we're probably going to hit tier 1 gain, and hopefully that gain is lightning. We're going to use a perfect orb because with the perfect orb, the minimum gain that you can hit, I believe, is tier 3. So we're just going to do that. And it doesn't really matter what we hit. We just hope to hit tier 1s if we can. And here we hit tier 1 fire and tier 2 cold, which is perfectly fine. For step 4, it's quite simple. We are going to replace one of the prefixes with a perfect essence of alacrity, which will roll one of the prefixes to a suffix, which will be the mana cost efficiency modifier. So what you're going to do is you're going to activate an omen of sinestral crystallization and then use a perfect essence of alacrity. It'll look like this. For step 4, we will be using an omen of sinestral crystallization to remove one of these 2 prefixes, and then using a perfect essence of alacrity to add our mana cost efficiency suffix. So on this one, we're hoping to remove the cold because it's tier 2. And we did. We got a little lucky there. Finally, some luck on this craft for me. But that is step 4. Very, very quick and easy. For step 5, we're going to re-add our last prefix. You're going to activate an omen of Sinestral Exaltation and use another perfect exalted orb and just slam it out. Because we have the mana modifier in the suffixes now, we have opened up every single prefix tag available, so there's no reason to use an omen of homogenizing exaltation here. All right, for step 5, we are going to be re-adding the prefix that we just removed. Because we now have the mana modifier, we are open to literally any prefix tag, so there's no point in using a homogenizing here. We're just hoping to hit some high damage. Spell damage would be preferred. Gain lightning is next. And because we're doing Archmage here, tier 1 mana, flat mana specifically, would also be really good. So let's just see what we get. Hey, we got tier 1 flat mana. Not bad. For step 6, which is our final step, we will be desecrating and searching for cast speed. We're going to use a preserved jawbone or an ancient jawbone alongside an omen of abyssal echoes until we find cast speed. If you don't find cast speed in this first little bit, then you probably need to use omens of light and keep searching. Each ancient jawbone and omen of light is between 3 to 4 div at the time of making this video, so it can get quite expensive quite quickly, and I recommend that you are willing to settle if you're just doing this for a self-craft. For step 6, the final step of our build, we are searching for mana regen or cast speed. Cast speed, the minimum we can hit with our ancient jawbones is tier 4. And mana regen, I recommend going for at least tier 2, if not tier 1. This part of the build can get quite expensive, but luckily we hit cast speed on the first try. Sometimes this takes me 10 jawbones to hit, sometimes this takes me less. This is tier 4 cast speed here, and we're going to stop on it just to save ourselves some of the crafting cost on something that's not going to sell. Like I said at the start of the video, this is not for profit. These are very easy to make, especially if you're just doing cast speed and crit, because in step 3, or step 2 even, Instead of slamming out prefixes, you can slam out suffixes, and this will guarantee a mixture of cast speed crit or double crit. And our particular build doesn't care about those things. We only care about cast speed and the mana cost efficiency. So we're done. All right, that's how I craft dueling wands for my Archmage Sorceress. If you like the video, please like and comment down below. It really does help me out a lot. If you have any questions, I try to answer every single comment that comes through, and we'll be back next week with another craft. So we'll see you then. Peace.